Alrighty. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 73 of the Dear Herbalist podcast titled Herbal Medicine in the Political Arena, Your Voice Matters. Now, before we begin, I want to clarify that this is not about endorsing any political party, because to be honest, I don't believe it matters, and I don't care who you're voting for anyway. That is a personal decision, and I encourage you to pray and to seek guidance on who it is that you need to set your vote for, should you choose to do so. But today we are going to talk about how to advocate for herbal medicine, how to bring our concerns, questions, and needs to those in office and demand solutions. Now, I do understand that money often drives politics, but that is no excuse for us as herbalists to stay silent. Now, in today's political climate, healthcare is a hot topic, but often these discussions only focus on health insurance, hospitals, and conventional doctors. But what's missing is a person's right to choose, not just any allopathic doctor, but any form of healthcare with insurance coverage for these options. Now, I do know it's a long shot, right? I'm shooting in the dark here. But we as herbalists need a seat at this healthcare conversation table. It is a must. So let's take a step back really quickly and look at how our form of medicine was strategically phased out. Now, the decline of herbal medicine schools in the United States can largely be attributed to the Flexner Report of 1910. The Flexner Report had a significant negative impact on herbalists and herbal schools. So let's look at that impact. Number one, many herbal medicine schools were forced to close because they did not meet Flexner's standards. Herbal medicine was marginalized, portrayed as unscientific and inferior. Number three, we lost a wealth of traditional knowledge as a result of this. 4, there was a shift towards more pharmaceutical medicine. 5, public access to and acceptance of herbal treatments decreased. And I really do believe because the marketing for the allopathic community and the pharmaceutical companies increased. Another issue is that stricter regulations made it difficult for herbalists to even practice legally. Another issue was research into herbal medicine declined significantly. And then a broader cultural shift occurred, moving away from more holistic approaches to a more drug-based model. And this was by no accident at all. This context explains why herbal medicine is often relegated to alternative medicine in the United States, because we were systematically phased out. But I call on us today to advocate more. No matter what they did to try to phase us out, we are still here. And I don't think that's a reason for us to not advocate at all. So let's look at advocacy. What is it? It is the act of supporting, recommending, or arguing for a specific cause, idea, policy, or course of action. The overall goal is to create positive change, address any type of inequalities, and give voice to those that were affected by various issues. So let me give you about 5 main tips for herbalists to advocate with local and federal politicians. Number 1, emphasize historical and cultural significance. This is very important because we were using herbal medicine before. It was the main medicine and it was effective. And we could have continued on that path of using herbal medicine, but because of finances and other things, certain other people wanted to move in and monopolize this. And of course, here we are today. But that doesn't mean that we can't really talk about, and really promote the historical and cultural significance, because using herbal medicine for hundreds of thousands of years really does mean something. It really does. Another tip, focus on sustainability and environmental benefits. Showcase how herbal medicine promotes conservation. Another one is present scientific evidence and research. Compile studies supporting herbal medicine's efficacy and safety. So what you can do if you are not an herbalist researcher yourself, reach out to some. Reach out to some herbalist researchers and say, hey, I need some scientific evidence and research. Trust me, it is out there. Now, I will say that the bulk of the research that I see it has been done in other countries. Okay, just trying to be honest. The bulk of the research that I see on herbal medicine has been done in other countries to prove the effectiveness of herbal medicine. So you want to make sure you have that. And that's a key component for herbal medicine, because that is one of the things that people are often saying, which is not true, is that, herbal medicine is not backed by science. It is not scientifically proven, yada, yada, yada. I'm sure we've heard it all, but that is not true. It may not be backed by mainstream science, okay, but there is a science within herbal medicine that applies, okay, and it has been proven. So that conversation is neither here nor there. The other thing is we want to address economic impacts. So discuss job creation as well as market growth in the herbal industry, because now more than ever, people are starting to research herbal medicine, natural remedies, these type of things. So the projections for the herbal industry is actually booming, within the next couple of years or so. So of course, this will impact the economy. Now, again, it's up to the politicians whether or not they give a crap, but it will bring money into the economy. Another thing we want to look at is promoting education as well as standards. This is very important because we want to make sure people are educated. Herbalists are educated in their fields. They understand what's going on. Depending on which type of herbalist you decide to be, education is very important, but not only for the herbalist, but also the local community. People understanding what herbal medicine is, what it can do, what it can't do, how it can benefit the greater whole. Now, there are various techniques that advocates use, okay, in order to get the word out and to advocate for herbal medicine. These are the things that you can do. You can look at researching solutions and gathering evidence. Sometimes people hear more when they see the numbers, if that makes sense. There's more buy-in to it because they see that you have presented a strong case and you have receipts, as we call it, but evidence to back up what you're saying. The other thing is connect with other herbalists and build coalitions and mobilize supporters. People that have benefited from herbal medicine, people that you might have helped, mobilize people to support the cause. Another thing is raise public awareness through campaigns. You can either zero in on a specific common health issue and create a campaign around it. You can do a variety of things, but consider raising public awareness through campaigns. Another thing is organize demonstrations or petitions. You can use social media, which is really big right now, and other communication channels to advocate for the cause. I know we see a lot, especially on TikTok, people talking about various health issues and the need for plant medicine and that type of thing. So social media obviously would be a good way to start as well. Now, advocacy can take different forms. So you can either go through the avenue of self-advocacy, where you're speaking up for yourself, or you're supporting a specific person. You could also look at what they call systems advocacy, where you're working to change policies or practices. Or you can look at legal advocacy, where you're using the legal system to promote change. As advocates, no matter what, we should always listen to the concerns of others and help explore options, provide information, support individuals in meetings, help express views and wishes effectively, avoid making judgments or decisions for others. This is very important because your attitude is everything. When you are reaching out to people, you're advocating for a cause, your attitude is everything. So if you go in there with a crappy attitude, or you're too judgmental, or you go in there bashing the medical community, right off the bat, people are already shutting their minds off because that's how some of them are programmed, and so if they hear those trigger words, this is another nut on our hands, and they're not going to be able to hear what you have to say. But that doesn't mean that you still don't say it. You just have to shape it in a way that people can actually understand. And building coalitions with other complementary medicine practitioners can help as well strengthen our advocacy efforts, because we're not only just us, it's also chiropractors joining in. A lot of people saying, hey, you know what? If you have health insurance, because I know that's what they're arguing about out here these days. Oh, you have the right to keep your doctor and you should be able to get a health insurance. And I don't know about anybody else's health insurance, but, it's going up. and it is expensive. Okay. And so for me to pay so much in health insurance, and I rarely go to the doctor, I really only go for a checkup because they have machines that I don't have, as an herbalist. But I go for a checkup. I rarely go in there. I rarely get sick. So for me to pay an exuberant amount of money every month is crazy. So I feel like if I'm paying that money in insurance, I should be able to say, okay, I'm an herbalist, or I'm going to go to a clinical herbalist, these type of things. And I should be able to choose where I want to spend my healthcare dollars. But that is not the case. And I think that's where we need to advocate. So let's talk about some advocacy points to look at. One, we can advocate for clear regulation, recognizing herbal medicine's unique nature. We can push for legislation to protect the client's rights to choose alternative practitioners and fund it through their insurance. We can stay informed about legislative developments affecting herbal practice. We could advocate for inclusion of herbal medicine in mainstream medical education. And this is important because they're already using plants. They're already using herbs in pharmaceutical medication. They're just pulling out certain properties from it and adding all that other crap to it. But some of these medicines out here have the foundations in herbal medicine, in plants. So why would you not include herbal medicine or herbal education in your mainstream medical education? So we should advocate for that. Because to be honest, a lot of times you may find people that they have a doctor and they have an herbalist. Even though we have separate philosophies, that's just what they do. They're like, not ready to get rid of my doctor yet or my medication. But I do believe in herbal medicine. And I do want to kind of merge over there, but it's like a slow transition, right? So in that interim, you are being seen by both people, a doctor and an herbalist. So this is the reason why we have to be a part of the conversation or even be at the table, especially with these multidisciplinary teams, so that we can talk about, our insights to it, rather than people looking at us like it's just quackery and all this other nonsense. I talked about already the importance of continuing education, even for herbalists, is very important so that we can stay abreast of what's going on. I know sometimes politics can be so just like draining, especially every time it's a presidential election. It's just like, oh my God, here we go again. Here we go with the fear mongering and the racial aspect of things. And here we go again with, vote for me because of this, or don't vote for me because of that. It's just an ongoing thing. You're lying. No, you're lying. And, the people that are actually being affected by these issues are the ones that are just like, we just want a solution. We want a feasible solution and not one that's going to screw us on the back end. So when it comes to healthcare, and this is just a side note in my own thoughts as an herbalist, when we talk about healthcare, we need to put more money into prevention, first of all. Okay. The other thing is we have to tackle the issue of our food and what we are eating. We cannot talk about healthcare, dis-ease, and all these other things if we don't address this issue with the food. What chemicals are being used? How our foods are being processed? How come there are certain foods in the United States that cannot cross the ocean to go anywhere else to any other country? They're like, we don't want that. Don't even send that over here. We don't want that. We don't none of that. The ingredients, chemicals, nothing. How is it that you can eat a slice of bread over here and just have all these type of inflammatory reactions, but you go over to Europe and get a slice of bread and nothing happens? So we have to really talk about the bigger conversation while everybody is up here seemingly just spinning their wheels. It's like, look, we have to look at the root. And as herbalists, that's what we do. We look at the root. So when you're talking about healthcare, you cannot put the food industry to the side. They have to be front and center and be held accountable for all of these chemicals in the food. Okay? I'm sorry, Mr. So-and-so or Mrs. So-and-so, that you don't like the color of that orange. I'm not going to spray it and make it beautiful for you. It's fresh. It's good. Go ahead and eat it. I'm not going to color the apples. I'm not going to lay a wax on top of there. If you don't eat this apple once it's plucked within the next couple of days, it's going to be old and moldy. Accept that. But you'll be healthy. You'll be fine. And your body will know what to do with it. Other than that, I could just paint the apple, change the color of the oranges and all this other stuff, add food and preservatives and additives and all this stuff. And now you're needing the quote unquote healthcare insurance. But guess what? You're not able to use it as at an herbalist. To see an herbalist, you're just not. You're not going to be able to go to certain alternative practitioners. And I hate the word alternative. I don't know where they got this word from. I know why they use it, but I hate it. Okay. I don't like it at all. We are the original. Okay. We are not alternative to anything. How are you going to take some of the properties from the plants, mix it up and create your own stuff, repackage it, and then say, now I'm the main thing, y'all the alternative? That is just asinine to me. It's ridiculous. I don't like to say alternative at all. Alternative, nothing. You know what I'm saying? We need original, the original. Okay, I'm gonna get off my soapbox now, but I didn't want to let that go by without me saying that. As herbalists, that's another part of advocacy. What is going on with our food? What is going on with all of these additives and sugars and things like that that are causing these health issues for people? Nobody wants to focus on that. We only want to focus on the medicine, the end of the line. So what happens after you get the disease? Do you have insurance to be able to get taken care of? And even then, understanding that there's other chemicals on that side as well, that's going to cause more harm. So there's a lot of conversations around that we as herbalists need to have, and we need to have our voice be heard. And we need to hold each other accountable and hold ourselves accountable to make sure that we know what we're supposed to know, to make sure that when we sit amongst other people and other professionals, that we know what we're talking about. Make sure that, we're poised, we have our evidence. And unfortunately, it's just how it goes. We have to prove it. You could have 100 clients saying that you've done this and that and the third. It still ain't enough. You have to prove that what you know is what it is. You have to prove that herbal medicine works. And it's a shame because it's been used for over 3,000 years, hundreds of thousands of years. But no, that is not enough. We still have to prove ourselves, and we still have to advocate, right? Which is important, which is very important. The other thing is that we want to promote education on herb-drug interactions for medical professionals. Now I'm getting back on I'm getting off the soapbox, getting back focused here. All right. I didn't want this podcast to be too late, but when I was sitting down, nowadays when you're scrolling social media or when you're looking at Facebook, it's political. And I know that this is the climate that we're in right now. I know that this is a major election that we are dealing with right now. But I also encourage you not to forget about your local elections, because this is where policies are made. This is where changes happen. So don't forget, while you're spinning around in the wheels of the federal, presidential election, don't forget about those local elections, because I believe that's where it really, really, truly matters. So remember, no matter what, as an herbalist, you really have to be bold. You have to be courageous. You have to advocate, not only for yourself, but for your profession, for your clients. It's very important. So let's advocate for the medicine we believe in and ensure that herbal medicine has a place in the future of healthcare. If you like what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on all social media channels at The Demystified Herbalist. And until next time, family, I'm out.